Hi, Cornerstone. Today's Cornerstone connection comes from Psalm 119, verses 33 through 40. What kind of prayer do you pray before you open up God's Word? It's important that we take time to go to the Lord in prayer before we open up the Bible and read it. After all, reading God's Word isn't like reading any other book. Through God's Word, God speaks to us. God reveals Himself to us. He tells us who He is and what He's done and how He wants us to live. And so every time we open up God's Word, we desire that God would speak. That's what the psalmist does in Psalm 119. In this fourth stanza, verse 33, he says, "Teach me, O Lord." This is his prayer. "Teach me, O Lord, the way of your statutes, and I will keep it to the end. Give me understanding that I may keep and observe your law with my whole heart." He says, God, I need you to teach me such that I will live for you all of my days and observe your law, your commandments with all of my heart. He doesn't want half-hearted devotion to the Lord. He wants to be fully devoted to the Lord. And so he says here that he wants God to teach him that he might obey God's word with his mind, his feet, his heart, and his eyes. That's what we see here in verses 34 through 37. He prays in verse 34, "Give me understanding that I may keep your law and observe it with my whole heart." God, I need you to open up my mind to see you, to see your word, to be changed by you. Because my natural mind can't understand. I need you, God, to speak to me. Verse 35, "Lead me in the paths of your commandments, for I delight in it." God, I need your word to be a light unto my path, that you might lead me into your commandments. It's like engaging our feet. And that's what we need to do. We need to walk in God's ways. Whereas verse 35 says, "Lead me in the path." This is a well-worn path that many saints have traversed before us. You see, we live in a world that is obsessed with innovation. What's the newest thing? But what God says is, don't be looking for being an innovator, but rather an imitator. How can we imitate the saints who have gone before us? How can we imitate the apostles and the prophets? How can we imitate Jesus? That's what we need God to do for us, to make us into imitators of Him and His Son, and understand His word that we might walk in His ways. He also says here, verse 36, "Incline my heart to your testimonies and not to selfish gain." The psalmist knows that his heart is divided. Our hearts are like wayward hearts. They go after things other than God. And he's saying, God, I need you. I'm praying to you. Incline my heart to your word, your testimonies, and not to wealth and possessions and selfish gain. Don't let me go the way of the world. I want to stay fully devoted to you. And then in verse 37, he says, "Turn my eyes from looking at worthless things and give me life in your ways." Oh, that's a prayer we should pray regularly, isn't it? Lord, turn my eyes away from these worthless things, these vanities in life, these allurements that pull me away from you, these temporary things, these things that have really no eternal value. Turn my eyes away from those things. Turn my eyes away from sinful things and help me, Lord, to keep my eyes fixed on you, that I may experience life that is the life you design me to live, life in your ways. Lord, don't let me live according to the ways of this world, but help me, Lord, to be consumed by you and your word. These are just a few of the things that the psalmist says that we can pray as we open up God's word. God's word is incredibly powerful, but we need eyes to see it, and ears to hear it, and a heart that understands it, and feet to walk according to it. And so pray along those lines. God, teach me. Speak to me as I open your word today.